welcome back to the show. Again on the show today, we have owner-operator from Resolution Fitness. We have Paul Gabay. You're watching Press Box. Now, Paul, tell us a little bit how you're intertwined with the veteran community, if you can. And I know you mentioned earlier about the Invictus.
Yeah. Well, the Invictus trainer is actually separate from the Invictus games.
Yeah.
But as I've kind of researched different products, it does lead me towards finding groups that are working, or groups that will benefit from these products. So different rehab facilities and physiotherapy clinics that tailor to people who are living with disability or experience an injury. They are often the type of groups that will look for my products. I've worked with groups like WCB and WSIB fairly frequently in supplying products that can help people post-injury. I've been chatting quite a bit in the past with Spinal Cord Ontario.
Okay.
And different groups like that. I've really been trying to foster a partnership. Parasport Ontario is a group that I've done a lot of work with. Variety Village, great people there. I try to be involved with them as much as I can. And another great group called Flex for Access their focus is actually to help fitness facilities become more inclusive and more adaptive and cater to the broader community of those who want to be fit and active. And as mentioned, Wheelchair Rugby Canada, that's a group that I'm really excited about continuing my relationship with. And so far it's been great.
So let me ask you this, because over the like we've known each other for the last couple of years. I think we met, I can't remember if we met just prior to COVID or during COVID, but as you know, so many businesses and just so many things have changed since COVID, and now COVID's gone. But can you tell us how you adapted? Like how did you manage, and where are you now? Like I know a lot of people, they had a studio back in the day and now they have a home studio, or they take their talents on the road. So how did it affect you, and how did you adapt, Paul?
You know what? I think that was one of the advantages, oddly to say, the pandemic, because like a lot of people, I was in a specific role with a specific company, and the pandemic shook things up. It put me in a position where I made the steps towards starting my own business that had always been in the back of my mind. And
Okay.
based on the nature of what I do, I primarily focus on commercial grade equipment for commercial settings like schools, hotels, condos, etc. So those products aren't typically off the shelf. So when I started approaching a lot of the customers that I've worked with in the past and kind of just putting myself out there, I was in a position to basically present them with options, show them what they were looking for, and if everything went well, was able to source and supply the product. So the relationships I've built up over the 20 plus years in the fitness industry allowed me to have a direct connection with a lot of these suppliers, and through that avenue of working with everybody,
Yeah.
maybe not excluding groups based on their ability or their level of ability, it kind of gave me a little bit of a niche to really approach different customers and clients and people who could really see the need and what I was recommending.
So let me ask you this: would you consider yourself more, because you sort of like a double threat here? Like, so would you be more of a personal trainer or more of a goods and service guy?
I think I'm more of a goods and service guy with
Okay.
experience in health and fitness. And there may be a lot of people out there with that, but I don't know that everyone kind of ties everything in. I heard recently that people had said that, oh, well, there's very limited. I heard this on a podcast that kind of made me laugh. That said that there's really no barrier to get into the health and fitness industry. So you got to be very careful who you listen to. But I think that's really far from the truth. I think there's a really deep profession in the people who present health and fitness solutions, whether it be equipment or whether it be information, to help people achieve their health and fitness goals. And with that said, that's why it's even more important to consider those who have limited ability or need various options to overcome certain barriers to health and fitness, because ultimately we're designed to move, and regardless of the limitations, movement is really medicine, and the more we can give people those opportunities and solutions to do that, people will be healthier and live longer, which is ultimately, that's my goal. So I assume that's people's goal too.
Well, that's great for sharing. Thank you for that. And can you tell our viewers now, do you have like a price point of your products? Like they range from $12 to $150 or something like that. Can you tell our viewers?
They do, from they really can range from $10 to thousands of dollars in all honesty. Especially the products that you'll find in a health club or rec center, many of which are I like to use the term universally designed. You can buy a certain machine designed for chaining your chest, but instead of what you see in the gym where it's more fixed to an able-body user, the machine could be designed in different ways. Like something like that going into a health club would be a lot more expensive versus fitness accessories like medicine balls and bands. Those could be a lot less expensive, a little bit more accessible from a budget standpoint. But there's a variety of solutions available to people to find fitness on a personal level, and what I really hope to see is on the commercial level, because a health club buying X amount of dollar or X amount of dollar number of pieces of equipment can make it a lot more accessible to a community versus the individual trying to amass that type of equipment into their basement, and not at the same time, not price wise, that might not make sense to try and have every piece of possible fitness equipment. But that's why I like to see health clubs and rec centers be a little bit more inclusive, because really they're halfway there in a lot of cases.
This is great, Paul. Well, we all know, how important health is to your frame of mind and your health, obviously. So, and as being a fitness guy myself, I know how much it's helped me. I like to get up every morning and do my fitness. And it's a nice breath, fresh air, positive way to start the day. And, there's so many people on our platform that are they need so much support. They need help. They're trying to stay healthy. They're trying to improve themselves. I would love it for you to come onto our Facebook page on a regular basis and just give a couple tips to our veterans, to our persons with disabilities. Maybe they can ask you questions. They can send you an email. I'd love for you to be a part of our station, because we're all about sports. And I think what you do is amazing. It's positive. You're trying to help people. And we would love to open up the door and just say, an open door, Paul, you come on anytime. You can, we can help you. Maybe if people want to say, hey, I want to meet Paul, how do I get in touch with him? Say, if I want to get some advice from him, do a consultant class, do a gym with him. So can you give us some information? Like, give us your website again, if you're happy to give out whatever you want to give us, because I'm sure people are listening that want to maybe get in touch with you, but I'd love to start to interact with you more, Paul.
Yeah, Jay, I'd do that. And if you don't mind, can I share one thing as well on something you just said? I like people, especially health club owners, rec centers, facilities, to consider the demographic of the people in their health club, and then consider that 10-15% of people in Ontario at least are living with a disability, and many of that number with a physical disability. If you look around your club and see that there aren't many people in your health club that have that, consider that you could have 10-15% more people using your space. And taking outside that financial element, you mentioned something about that kind of touched on mental health. When I go to the gym, and I go pretty regularly, I see a lot of the same people every day. Not everyone I know personally, but I see a lot of the same faces. I smile at people as I walk past them on a machine, and they do the same. And in some ways, it's a big community. Same for my wife. Like we spend a lot of time in that same space. I had this conversation a while ago when it comes to the fact that when you go to the gym, you aren't in a community. And as I mentioned before, I didn't see a lot of people living with disabilities, but it's because there aren't really spaces that have them looked after. So what I want to see in the future is when I go to a health club, regardless of what kind of equipment I want to look at, I am seeing more people who represent what is really out there in the world, and that maybe shouldn't even really just be on fitness equipment. That could be in health. That could be in like hotels.
Everything. It's everything.
And everything.
Yeah, everything.
But ultimately, when people, and I've heard this through conversations, people living with disability can be in spaces that are accessible, that now makes them a part of that broader community, regardless of whether they have a disability. So I love to be in a place where the health clubs I'm going to have people who are there who either are amputees or people who have visual impairment or people who are in a wheelchair that can actually maneuver around the health club.
How about virtually?
Virtually is another great option, but at the same time, I really do think there's something to be considered when it comes to being in person.
It is. I'm just talking virtually for the people who aren't able.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Who are in person is definitely better, but obviously our community, a lot of them are mobility issues, but they would love to tune in, like we're tuning in, and the 20-minute workout, right? And you know what I mean? Yeah, right. So what I'd love to, let's connect after. So again, Paul, people want to get in touch with you. Please do give up your website.
Yes, resolutionfitness.ca. Please check it out. I try to have it, make it easy to kind of navigate and find a variety of products. And if you can't find it through clicking through the images, just type into the search bar. If there's something specific you're trying to find, that should also help. I'm also on Instagram at resolutionfitness, and also on Facebook at Resolution Fitness Services. So please reach out. You can access my email through any of those platforms. And if there's any questions or any ways that I can help support you in making your fitness spaces more inclusive and help you give more life to people, please let me know.
That's great, Paul. I really thank you. And again, I really thank you for supporting our fundraiser back on December 1st at the Legion 60 for the veterans. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to come back and wrap the show with a couple updates. Again, you're watching Press Box. I really want to thank the owner and operator at Resolution Fitness, Paul Gabay, for being on today. Thanks, Paul. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, thanks, Facebook people. Blow it up. We'll be right back with Press Box.